Welcome to Natasha Unfiltered, where I say what you're thinking, but worse. Today's podcast is going to be slightly different because I finally got myself a DJI and, I've been sitting on this decision for the longest time ever and I finally caved in, and best decision ever. I really love this investment because I've been more active, and honestly somehow I don't know why I get so much more creativity when I use the DJI, and it's so easy to use, it's so easy to maneuver. I feel like the only downside for me is that I'm still struggling with color grading, but other than that, love it. Okay, so let's jump straight into the usuals. My wins. So for my current wins, I would say that I've been catching back up on content because I felt super unmotivated, lack of creativity, and just I didn't want to do anything. And now with my DJI, I actually gained so much more creativity and motivation, of course, because I would actually beat myself up if I get the DJI and don't do anything with it. Another win is that I feel like over the past few months, ever since I spoke about my agoraphobia, I have actually gotten so much better with my agoraphobia. And shout out to my family, my friends, and my boyfriend because they've been so sweet, so supportive, and really pushing me to just put myself out there. As of now, as we speak, I can take the bus or train so much better than last time. I do still get a little anxious, but it's not as bad as before. And also, I am able to leave the house, be in crowded spaces, but maybe not too crowded still. But a win is a win, progress is still progress. I'm really proud of myself and thankful for everyone that has been by my side supporting me. Okay, now on to the L's. Honestly, my biggest L for this week is that I've been super sad. As of now, it's Friday, but the reason why I'm super sad is because after 4 months of vacationing with my boyfriend, we've been in Spain, in Philippines, in Singapore, and of course the vacation ends. I have to be in Singapore for a bit, clear up some work, catch up on some stuff, attend some events and all that. And my boyfriend, obviously, he has work, so yeah, I'm just not used to it. I really love spending time with him, and it just breaks my heart knowing that we will be apart for some time and hopefully not that long. But yeah, and that is why I'm making this podcast today, because hopefully speaking about it will make me feel so much better. And if you're wondering what am I gonna talk about, heartbreak, blah blah blah, no, today I'll be talking about long distance relationships. So every time I go on live stream, or one of my frequently asked questions is about long distance relationships. Because I don't have a list of questions, neither did I put up like a Q&A or poll, I am actually going to ask ChatGPT a bunch of questions that I should answer regarding long distance relationships. Are you guys ready? This podcast is perfect if you are going through a long distance relationship, thinking to get into one anytime soon, or maybe in the future you might get into one and you remember about this podcast and you just come back and watch this. So yeah, let's go ahead and read the different questions. I have 5 questions here, but I'm gonna add in one, which is my frequently asked question, which is how we handle long distance relationships. Honestly, I cannot answer for him because he may handle it differently and I handle it differently. The only similarity is how we actually incorporate everything together. So for me personally, I am a person. I feel like my love language with my partner is definitely, acts of services, physical touch, as well as just spending time together. Actually, all of them. So obviously in long distance relationship, I am lacking heavily on the being able to spend time together physically as well as physical touch and all that. So yeah, it sucks. So what I like to do is to, I have a big ass pillow, okay? And what I like to do is just put on a shirt or a hoodie that he has given me and just spray on a little bit of his perfume just to have like his presence when I sleep. I am also a major overthinker. If you didn't know, I overthink literally everything down to my personal decisions, and it's really tough, I'm not gonna lie. And I feel like all you need is really words of affirmation and a lot of communication, and FaceTime actually plays a really, really important role in long distance relationships. And lucky for me, I only have 6 hours difference for my long distance relationship. It is actually a lot, but at the same time not too much, because for me, I'm able to sleep in late, so that gives me time to actually connect with him when he's actually off of work, which I would say is super lucky for me already lah. But yeah, okay. And apart from that, during his break time, my break time, etc., we actually do find or squeeze in time to just give each other a call if night calls are not feasible for whatever reason. The only time we don't ever stay on call or like, you know, jump on a call is probably like Fridays, Saturdays. I would say Fridays and Saturdays we do still call each other. Maybe just Fridays and Saturdays not. I would say that the day that we don't actually call each other would probably be Saturday, because it's an off day. He wants time out with his boys, go out, meet his friends and all that, so I leave it to him. It's fine, because by the time he's awake, I might be getting ready to go out and meet my own friends, you know, so that's fine. Okay, so that's just a gist of whatever I think, because I actually did not script the questions or my answers, but at the top of my head, that is my answer for that like frequently asked question. So let me just answer 5 questions that ChatGPT has given to me. Okay, so the first question is, do you think long distance relationships make relationships stronger or just more complicated? I would say it's a mix of both, because it is definitely complicated, because with the distance, right, although many people don't want to admit this, but I feel like with the distance you are more prone to petty or silly quarrels, but that's just because you miss the person. And I realized this, and more than half the time the problem is me, and that's because I miss my partner so much. And it really frustrates me knowing that I will not see him today or the next week, and it just really frustrates me lah. And I will just be like, okay, so when, you know? And yeah, it can get a little complicated, but a lot of communication is definitely needed. That's like the key to surviving a long distance relationship. And I wouldn't say like I am master long distance relationship, and because I've only been with my boyfriend for a little bit more than a year, and honestly I'm very lucky, because for our long distance relationship we only spend like maximum 2 to 3 months apart, but this time it might be a little longer, but it depends. For this time I still don't know. And yeah, if you're asking me if it makes the relationship stronger, I would say yes, because with the distance it really gives us the chance to actually miss each other's presence, and on the phone is really different. It's not the same as being in person, and it just really fucking sucks. But at the end of the day, when you actually come face to face with your partner, everything just feels like, you know, it really feels like a weight has been lifted off of your shoulders. I can actually touch him, I can hug him, I can kiss him, you know. When I'm sad, I can just go straight up to him, cry, and have him hug me and stuff like this. And of course, we always think that our relationship is so much stronger, because if I can survive distance, I can survive anything with him. Of course, because distance is really tough. Like, it's not for the weak at all. And I feel like one of the positive things about long distance relationship, honestly, is that with the distance, one thing that we really have drilled into our heads is to really hustle, save money, hustle, you know, for the next flight. And we are able to spend time with our friends, much more time with our friends, although we do actually spend time with our friends even when we're together. But I feel like that's the only motivation, is that, okay, I don't see you now, I'm just gonna hustle, I'm gonna save loads of money, so when I see you, so I actually have money to come and see you, or when I see you we can actually do fun stuff and just stuff like this. Okay, so for the next question, it would be, how do you handle jealousy when you're miles apart, and how do you deal when they don't text back right away? Okay, I feel like every long distance relationship definitely comes with insecurity and jealousy, and it's normal. A lot of communication is needed, as I mentioned before, as well as reassurance. And I do know that sometimes when someone feels insecure, I don't know, but like, I feel like sometimes when someone feels insecure, they might project a little bit of their insecurity onto you. And for us, it is really easy to actually kind of, you know, catch like, okay, he or she is projecting because he or she is feeling, you know, I miss you a little bit more today, I am insecure today, I am a little jealous today. And that is where we actually provide each other with the extra loving, as in like words of affirmation, as well as security. Just really securing your partner is very important. The not texting back immediately part, right? Because we have 6 hours difference, we actually do understand that lah. And in fact, I do take note of like the times that he wake up for work, and there are some times where his alarm clock just doesn't work at all, and I will note down and like, okay, it's been like 10 minutes, maybe I should call him to see if he's awake. And not texting back on time is definitely normal because we have our own lives. We don't know exactly what we're doing. Maybe he's working, he's eating, he's watching a movie with his parents, whatsoever, so that's fine. I just feel like in between updates is definitely a must. Please do not ever ghost on me for more than like 3 fucking hours because I will lose my shit, you know? Like, just in between. Or just let me know like, hey babe, I am in a meeting now. Hey babe, I am working now. I'll text you once I'm done. Stuff like this, blah blah blah. Yeah, that's all I can say. Okay, so this is not part of like the questions that ChatGPT has given me, but something that I would just personally like to add is that when you're in a long distance relationship, just know that you can't go on dates. There's really nothing much you can do physically with your partner to kind of spice things up or just keep the, you know, the flame going. So one of the things that my boyfriend and I do frequently is that on Sundays, it is reserved for movie or series nights. And by that, I mean, for me, it's night. For him, it's probably afternoon. So we would pick out a specific series or movie to watch together. In between, like, we're either eating or we pause whatever shows that we're watching to just kind of like gather our thoughts. Like, hey, this person is a bitch, or like, you know, like, oh my god, this person, you know, stuff like this. So that's what we usually do. It's like our weekly ritual that actually kind of keep things going, and it's just so much more interesting. There is literally so much series and movies that we've actually watched together, and this actually started like randomly on one day where I was like, hey babe, you know, the new Spy X Family movie's out, let's watch it together, you know, on FaceTime. You watch on your TV, I watch on my screen, and just stay on FaceTime. And we would definitely mute on both ends and just show like facial expressions like and we do countdown as well, like 3, 2, 1, and then the movie or the series starts. Yeah. Another thing that my boyfriend and I usually do is that I really hate sleeping alone. Like, literally, I sleep alone on a queen size bed, and it just gets really fucking lonely sometimes. Like, all I do is think of only my boyfriend is here to give me a hug. I've had a really long and tiring and shitty day. So what we usually do before I sleep is that we jump on a call, chat for a little bit, and he would just sing me to sleep. Actually, like, sing me to sleep. And yeah, he can put down whenever he wants, and I'm fine. Yeah, it actually works out super well for the both of us. I'm just giving you 2 examples, and there are so much more, but let's move on to the next question. Okay, do you think visits should be planned super strictly or left spontaneous? Personally, I would love for him to surprise me someday, but at the same time, surprises gives me so much anxiety because of like the house preparation and all that. Because for both of us, we do actually live with our parents as of now. So say for example, when I am in Spain, I do get the master bedroom, and when he's here, I do clear out my closets to actually give him space and all that. So I feel like if there is no planning for the both of us, it might be a little bit inconvenient for the both of us as well, because like, oh shit, he's here and now I have to like clean up this, you know, and stuff like this super last minute, and it might actually stress either him or I up, and that's not what we really want. What we really want is to be able to properly embrace each other's presence while we're there. And also, I feel like it's super important to have pre-planned flights, because at least there is something to look forward to. Because if, say example, like what we always do is that before this trip ends, we actually discuss on like, hey, so this date, or like the month, and when I'm actually back or he's back in his country, we actually, you know, just start talking about the different dates and all that, and we confirm the dates as soon as we can and book the flight, of course, because only then we have something to, you know, count down to, look forward to, and it just doesn't feel as shitty compared to not knowing exactly when your partner will be back. Oh my god. Okay, I have one last question, and it's one of the questions that literally everyone asks us, and it is, so where are you gonna settle, or who's gonna move? You know, we have had this conversation a lot of times, and I feel like depending on your partner's first job or your job. For me personally, I'm able to work literally anywhere in the world, so I do not mind going out to him. And honestly, I have my life there, I have my friends there and all that. The only thing that I would be missing would be like my friends here, my family, as well as my cats. But at the end of the day, sacrifices are definitely a must. Like, for example, my parents actually were in a long distance relationship, and back then it was so much more worse because there was no smartphones. So FaceTime calls or whatever is literally so hard. And if you remember back then, international calls literally cost so much. It costs a fortune. I don't know, but that's what my parents said. And my dad did give me some advices regarding long distance relationship because he's lived that, and on top of that, being married. So they were in a long distance relationship since they were like going out, fiance, getting married, because my mom was still having her papers like processed here, so she didn't have papers, and eventually she had to like travel back and forth. And they even had a house together already. So my dad told me like, at least you have your family here, blah blah blah, and how lonely it was every time my mom left the country because he would be alone. So yeah, sacrifices are definitely like gonna be there, and ultimately have that conversation. I feel like sometimes it might get a bit heated, but for us, luckily, it was never heated. It was just, you know, he can't move because he can't speak English, or his work requires him to be there. And honestly, if he could speak English, he could definitely get a job here. But in the meantime, I am willing. As of now, I was thinking is that, okay, my job allows me to be literally anywhere in the world, so I will move. And then comes like the conversations about like the living, the kids, where should they study and stuff like this. There is when you actually have to sit down and properly discuss. For us, it was more relaxed in a sense where like he's okay with anything, I'm okay with anything, but I would rather move so that he can keep his job, and maybe along the way he can actually learn English before we actually come and live here. And either way, I'm not gonna let go of my passport because I am a proud Singaporean, and we literally have one of the world's best passports. Why would I ever give up on it, you know? So that's that. And honestly, I was supposed to do this podcast with my boyfriend, but I realized that his answers were only like one word or like, you know, one sentence answers. And I told him, babe, it's a podcast, not a open-ended, like, you know, like MCQ question, yes or no question, or like, what do you eat, mangoes? No, you're supposed to elaborate. But I realized that he cannot actually like elaborate or divert the conversation into something more in-depth, or, you know, just keep the conversation going for a podcast. So I decided to do this video alone because it was supposed to be special with him, but it's fine, and that is completely okay because he games, he wants to stream with me, and I cannot because I literally get so dizzy every time I play video games. So yeah, here's advice though that I would like to share with you guys on how to handle long distance relationship. But one thing I wanted to share with you guys when I was actually asking him the questions was, should I actually give long distance relationship a shot or no? His answer was that if you never try, you never know. You never know, this person might be the love of your life or whatever. And when you try and you fail, at least you know that you tried and you gave it a shot. Never think that anything is a waste of time, because at the end of the day, you will definitely have something to take away with you, either a good working relationship or lessons that you can learn from it. Yeah, it's never a waste of time. Every mistake that I've ever made in this life, I always like to think that I shouldn't be hating on the experience, neither should I be like grieving or beating myself up about it, because they're all life learning experiences and we live and we learn. And that is one thing that I really liked about whatever he said about this question, only because if you guys are still on the fence on actually committing to whoever that you're seeing right now due to distance, or in the long run you actually meet someone and you remember about this podcast, right, just know that listen to your heart, and if it's telling you to give it a shot, just go ahead and give it a shot, because you never know. You never try, you never know. At first I was really hesitant about doing long distance relationship, only because I had a really bad experience, and it was my first ever, like the guy before him was my first ever long distance relationship, and it wasn't even that long because we actually lived in the same country and we only spent like 1-2 months apart, and everything just started falling apart. So everything comes to an end, you get what I'm trying to say. But I learned, you know, at first I was super hesitant hesitant and I told him like, hey, I don't know if I can do this or not, and you know, I don't know if I am like completely healed to actually be in a relationship, because I mean, like, for me at that point of time, it was like almost 2 years since I broke up with my ex before I actually started going out with my boyfriend. So I don't want to actively hurt him because I am not healed. But he told me, why can't you heal with me? And that just made me think like, yeah, why can't I? You know, everything is worth a shot. And being with him, honestly, I regret ever hesitating this. And if I could do it, I'll do it all over again, although I'm still doing it. And I cannot wait for the day where the distance ends, because we do actually have a blast together. We do actually have so much more fun together in person. And he's been my biggest pillar of support behind the screen and in person. And yeah, guys, don't give up on hope. Distance will eventually come to an end and you guys will eventually be physically together, so just keep pushing. But of course, know your limits. If you feel like, okay, this person did whatever, or for whatever reason you just feel like, okay, this has to come to an end, actually reevaluate it before jumping into a decision. Because I feel like sometimes when we're very extremely overwhelmed, we tend to actually jump into decision or conclusions which we might regret in the near future. So think twice and love guys. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, don't forget to give me a like, a comment, share with your friends or anyone who is in a long distance relationship right now. And if you guys have anything that you guys would like me to talk about, be it like your tea and you want my opinion, or hot takes or topics that you want my opinion or for me to talk about, you already know that you can find a Google Forms in my link tree where you can submit whatever you want me to talk about, and I would be more than happy to talk about whatever topics or tea that you want my opinion on. So till next time guys, love, never hate on love. So that's it for today's episode guys. Love, and I will see you guys soon in my next episode. Bye.